tomorrow you will carry me. I just hope you know my depth, even though it makes no sense. Sometimes I'm broken, too much of emotions. Sometimes I'm the lightning, don't wanna pick a fight when everything seems so good.
Hello guys, welcome back to being Mrs. Fraser. Today we have a couple of house projects to get done. We're going to start with the easiest one, and that is just hanging up my scale. I love antique stuff, and I found this beautiful scale at our local vintage thrifting barn. It's called the Old Red Barn, and it's in Geneva, Florida. It's absolutely the most amazing place ever. So anyway, I picked up the scale and I want to go ahead and hang it up. Initially I was going to hang it up above the kitchen sink, but it is much too big for that and it hangs too low, especially with the way our faucet is. So the next best option for me was to hang it here in this area. Now, I do currently have the picture centered on the wall, so we need to take it off and move it over. And I'm going to tell you what, I added up with these Command Velcro strips, and this is the first time that I have ever used Command strips, and they have not damaged the walls. So, I was pretty impressed with those, and then, anyway, so we went ahead and took it down so that we can figure out where exactly we want to hang it. And if you guys have been around a while, you might recognize this hook from a few videos ago when we were working on doing the outside. But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and see what looks best. We're gonna start here and then we'll move on to switching up the bifold doors into Now, unfortunately, these command stickers are not reusable, so thankfully I did have some extras lying around. They are not quite as big as the previous ones, so I definitely needed to go to the store, but we're gonna make them work for now. Eventually we do end up hanging it up with a nail, just to make sure, because we hang it up over all the glass bottles here and I don't want it to fall and create, you know, a bigger mess than necessary. So while Fred was getting nails for the wall, or the screws I should say, to hang up the hook, I was just putting those on the back of the picture frame. So we end up, this hook actually came out of the garden center at Lowe's. We were initially going to use it for the wind chime outside, but then we found another way to hang that up, which I love. So we wanted to repurpose it and find another spot for it because honestly, it was kind of expensive. I think it was like $14 or something like that. But we decided that we liked it better without the wood piece. Now you're gonna have to let me know down in the comments. Do you like it with the wood behind it, or do you like it without that wood piece behind it? I was kind of torn, honestly, but I think the wood honestly did not match the vibes that I had going in my kitchen, so I definitely like it without it. Also, this picture, a little background, this is downtown Omaha, Nebraska, which if you don't know, if you're new, we are from the Omaha area. And recently, well, kind of not so recently, it's been over a year now, moved down to Florida. So we lived in Nebraska our whole lives. Downtown Omaha, if you have never been, is absolutely beautiful, historical. We love it. And this actually came out of an old hotel that was in Omaha that Fred and I both have a lot of history with. Fred worked at that hotel for, I think, like 8 years. I grew up going to birthday parties and stuff like that at this hotel. and they tore it down. So we got a picture out of the hotel, and then it's, like I said, also of downtown Omaha, so it's kind of all just a memory all together. But anyway, now that everything is hung back up, I do want to get some like dried fall-ish flowers, and I will probably change that out for every holiday and just kind of fancy this scale up. But I do want to grab some flowers. I don't do it in this video, but definitely come back because I will be decorating for fall soon, and that is probably when I'm going to put some fall decor, fall flowers in the scale. I cannot wait. I am so excited. But anyway, for now, I just put an antique doily in it that I also picked up at the same little antique spot. And then we're just gonna wipe down the bottles. You guys, with all this alcohol, you would think that we drink all the time, but we do not. Like, some of these bottles I bought at Christmas time, or actually Thanksgiving. I think I bought some of those at Thanksgiving last year. And then the St. Augustine alcohol that I have in mixers, I bought those like a few years ago. I don't even know if the mixers are any good anymore, but it is what it is. They're pretty bottles, so I just kind of set them up and put them on display.
It's all about us. It's all about us. Time to go home. Don't want this night to end. Yeah, about time we stop pretending. Come home with me. Let's write a history. Tonight I'll make you see. It's all about us. It's all about us. As we're dancing close together, making out. It's all about us. It's all about us. There's a magic in your eyes, can't get enough. Can't get enough.
I found these hinges at Lowe's. I will say they're good hinges, but I don't know exactly if it's what we needed. We do make them work. And then I also found this magnet on Amazon. I will make sure to link it for you guys if you are interested. This magnet is very heavy duty. It's actually 2, and we don't end up using both. You'll see that here later on in the video that we do end up only using 1 because, well, these are 90-pound magnets and a bit excessive, but they were the cheaper price with the better quality, so that's what I went with. But anyway, if you are new here, these bifold doors have been a pain in the rear since we have moved in. They fall out all the time, and they're extremely loud and just obnoxious. And I have been meaning to do this for quite some time now. So we are going to take all the bifold pieces apart and off the door. That includes the slide. There's a little piece down below, and then taking all the hinges and everything off the door so that way we can swap it over to bifold.
I can be a fighter. I can be a fighter if you want. I can be a fighter if you want. Oh, the way that I feel, yeah, I know that it's real, 'cause I can get him out of my head. I don't care what we do, everything's feeling new. Even if we stay in bed, my heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. You know I want him, nah, 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 nah. My heart is saying yeah, 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 yeah. I told him I can be a fighter if you want. I'll be there to catch you if you fall. I can make it brighter when it's.
Now that the doors are off and we got everything removed, we're gonna go ahead and start by measuring where we want to put the hinges. We just used our bedroom door for this. We basically measured from the bottom of the door to the middle of the bottom hinge, then to the middle of the middle hinge, and then to the middle of the top hinge. And we transferred those measurements onto the casing of this doorway to the pantry. Now, our house was built in 1986 or 88, somewhere in the 80s. And I know some of you are already going to know what I'm going to say, but things settle and shift, and in this old house, nothing is perfectly square. So we did transfer this measurements on to the one side, and we started to put the hinges on, And we were trying to go back and forth on like, do we want to put them on the door first or on the frame first? We did end up doing the frame first for the first door, but we ended up doing the hinges on the other door first because, again, the frame is not square. So we literally had to like hold up the door, and it's a whole thing to try to get them as even as possible, even though the space, there's going to be a gap because it's not square. And yeah, it was a whole process, you guys. And if you guys live in an older home, you will realize that any project you do that needs to have a square moment is going to be not square. Even in new builds, some of the new builds I think are not perfect, but it is what it is. It's okay. We made it work. But we're just gonna finish removing the pieces from the old bifold. What do you call it? I don't even know. Like the old, basically what made it a bifold door. So another thing you'll notice here, this door looks like it was a full door cut down the middle. It does not have these little square pieces on it, are not centered evenly, which I never noticed as it being a bifold door, but being a French door, I did notice that. Now, don't worry, it's not a problem. At first I was like, oh, this is not going well, like what happened here, but it ended up being okay. It ended up looking okay, and I don't even notice it now, but I don't know if that's normal for bifold doors, but it is what it is, and we'll figure it out. Now, here you're noticing that we're running into problems. We're trying to decide. The door is bowed. I don't know how well you can tell that from this angle, but it's bowed. And so things were not lining up. It wasn't just the door frame, but we definitely ran into a whole lot of problems. But in the end, it works out, so make sure you stay tuned so you can see how it looks. With this project, we really wanted to be as budget friendly as possible. That's why we're redoing or reusing the same doors. This project literally costs like, let's see, maybe $3 for 2 hinges. So we had 6, that's 9. And then the magnet was 10. So under $20. It worked out that way, and that's what we were trying to do, is trying to be as budget friendly as possible. You can go buy new doors and all that, and let me tell you, I would have loved to go to the flea market and buy some beautiful vintage doors that maybe came out of a cathedral or just an old, an old building or something like that, but those are expensive, and as beautiful as they would have looked in the space for the pantry, it's out of budget. And like I said, we're just trying to keep things under budget. Our budget has slimmed clear down since, buying this house, because, we spent a lot of money fixing things that we already fixed, in regards to, buying a shed and redoing the whole kitchen, gutting the kitchen, so the budget is a little slimmer these days. And yeah, so I'm perfectly fine with reusing the bifold doors. Again, I absolutely love the way it turns out. So if you guys have some bifold doors that you are not a fan of, definitely try this out, especially if your budget isn't that big. We could have found these hinges on Amazon as well. I'm sure of it. I know Amazon has hinges. that are affordable. So definitely just make sure you're checking reviews and stuff like that to make sure that you're actually getting a good quality product, or at least make sure that the product is returnable in case that it doesn't work. So, and then as far as like just making sure that it all fits on here, you'll notice that we unscrew the center hinge. We leave it on for looks, but the door is literally being held up by just 2 hinges because it is so bowed. You guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is. But we made it work, and again, I can't wait for you guys to see how it turns out.
To think you wouldn't be so reckless. I keep on pretending, I know we better end it. I said it more than once, yeah. You take my love for granted. We keep on talking from body to body, yeah. Getting closer to just being nothing else. I'm a sucker for your love, even though it's kind of toxic, babe. You know I feel it when we touch, that your love is from a different place. It's toxic, babe. Nothing more to say, let's just waste away. One more time is all we need. A bitter truth to face, not that innocent. We know what we did. I'm a sucker for your love, even though it's kind of toxic, babe. You know I feel it when we touch, that your love is from a different place. It's toxic, babe.
I also want to note that this is definitely a 2-person job. Now, you'll see that I disappear a few times and Fred kind of does his thing, but for the most part, it's definitely a 2-person job. You need somebody to hold the door up, hold other pieces up while you're measuring and this, that, and the other. It also, you know, it helps to bounce ideas off of each other, especially because honestly, if I would have been doing this myself, I probably would have got extremely frustrated with it, since there was a few mishaps as we went along. But it definitely is a 2-person job. So if you have another person on hand that can help you, whether, you know, significant other, child, whatever, because honestly, if Fred wasn't able to help me, I probably would have enlisted the help of one of our children, so who are usually most often very, very helpful and willing to help. So it all works out though. I'm super glad that I was able to get this done with obviously the help of Fred, even though I think I did most of the supervising. So as you can see, there is a little bit of a gap at the top. There is a gap at the bottom too. These doors don't go floor to ceiling or floor to top of the trim. It's fine. It didn't anyway, even in the old bifold setup, but we had to go find a piece of scrap wood. Thankfully, this is leftover just from taking out some shelves that we had in the garage. So Fred just cut it down to size and was able to fit it right in there. That way we could hang the magnet on it. Since there was such a gap, you can't just put the magnet on the top of the trim and expect it to hold the doors because they don't line up for it to do so. So this little 2x4 was perfect. He just put it up in there. Thankfully, it was already painted white, so I didn't even have to worry about that. And then he just attached the magnet right in the middle. Like I said, this was a 2-pack of magnets, but these are 90-pound magnets and was not... these are not 90-pound doors. So we really only needed one. So to make that work, I I ended up just putting, Fred. I assisted Fred. I was the assistant. The assistant supervisor, if you will. I don't know. But he went ahead and hung the magnet in the middle, making sure that the doors would still like have a little portion when they close on it. And then the little metal strips that you put on the doors, we just put them on the edge of the doors after we marked where they would line up. So that way that we knew where they were going, and it all worked out again because we didn't need that strong of a magnet. So one worked, and he just put it on this 2x4 here, and then he screwed the 2x4 into the frame, and it all worked out perfectly for that. Now you can go about this a different way. There are different types of closure styles. There's one that there's like a little metal piece that goes in the top of the door, and it has like a little bubble that kind of clicks into place. You can do these magnets. You could probably even do like a little, what is that called? Like a little arm that closes down in front of the doors, or however you would like to go about it. There's a lot of different options that definitely could go into play. Even like a little eye hook lock, if you know what I'm talking about. But we decided on the magnet. I thought the magnet would be the easiest route. I think you could probably get hinges even that had like a closure on them, but the magnet was the easiest route. So I will definitely make sure that I link that magnet down in the description for you guys. It'll also be in my Amazon storefront if you are trying.
I'm more like this, a game for the reckless. It's so extreme and I don't really care. I don't really care, yeah. No, I don't really care. I don't really care.
Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the handles. Now before, this was just a little like cabinet knob that I did not want. I did not like it. It didn't match our style, I guess, if you will. If you notice, our handles on the doors are black. They're black all over, including in the kitchen. I ordered the kitchen pulls off of Amazon. Again, I will link everything for you guys. But we had a few left over, and I was like, what perfect way of tying this pantry into the kitchen than using the same pulls. So, or hardware, I guess. I don't know what you call it. But anyway, I went ahead and just marked, instead of having to fill the little spot where the previous handle was at, I decided to go ahead and make that part of the new handles and just measure from there. And then I just measured on the other door kind of straight across, so that way the handles lined up. They're super easy to install, just drilling out where the screws need to go and then screwing them on, and they worked out perfectly. So I absolutely love how they turned out. I think it looks really nice and super affordable. Now, again, these were just extra handles that we had lying around, but I think they were like maybe $50 for like 30 of them. So, and they were for the main kitchen. So they were definitely just lying around, but I think you can get these for just a couple bucks a piece at the hardware store. I know Lowe's has ones that are similar to that. So if you don't have handles lying around, that would probably be the best way to go. But again, it's still very under budget. You're still spending less than probably $30 total to do this whole project. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys love how it turned out. I know I do. Now, I know that it could have used some painting. Actually, you guys will have to let me know. Should we paint them white or should we paint them black? Because I am torn. But anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope everyone stays happy, healthy, and safe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.